Bonjour, everybody. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nation's Communications from Home. It's my Tuesday night show, not my every morning live stream. It's kind of strange to have to switch gears that way, but welcome everybody to Star Nation's organization's main fan page is where I do my live stream for my show called Communications from Home. And tonight is Tuesday, August 21st. And tonight's show is really, I've been talking about this for some time, right? And so it's all about manifesting and how we ground our manifestations to the earth plane. And how this even got started was a couple months ago. I was doing a show with Carl and Ortrud Franklin, and we were talking about our egoic self. And Carl was explaining about how the earth, how grandmother earth is already in the fourth dimension and moving into the fifth dimension. And that, of course, if we want to be and remain with grandmother, we have to be within her vibrational field. And so that's why so many of us have been really diligent, right, in our healing work and soul growth, and so that we can have that optimum vibration to be able to stay with her. And it's not a specific number, not a specific frequency per se, like the megahertz, right? That's how they figure that out. But it's more like a range. And so I had a question posed to me a couple of times from different people is, well, okay, but how do we do that? How do we ground our manifestations to the earth plane? And do we have to specifically do it for the fourth and fifth dimension? And I thought, that is a really good question. And I do it very simply just through my body, but I thought maybe there's more to it. Maybe there's more to it. Hey, Rob Kendall and Christine Pollock. Thanks for joining. We're kind of waiting a little bit for people to come over from Paul Krause's show. He had his friend Francis Robbins on. That was a good show. I missed the last 10 minutes of it, but it was a really good show. I want to tell you a little bit about my guest. My guest is somebody that you guys all know, Polly Jo LeBay. Polly Jo is one of our live stream show hosts here at Star Nations Radio Network on Facebook. She is also one of our contributing writers. But the thing is that what many people don't know about Polly Jo is that she's the founder of the Trinity School of Mystical Energy in Western Massachusetts. She's also a renowned healer and educator who studied with Sonia Choquette, Lisa Champion, and Reese Thomas. Yeah, she studied a lot. She's also been down to Brazil with John of God. And so she says that Polly's depth and breadth of both traditional and energy medicine enable her to accomplish her mission of healing the healers. She is a Yushi Reiki master teacher and sensory practitioner. Her areas of expertise include Reiki, alchemical healing, IET, aroma touch technique, angelic essence healing, psychic development, tarot, and empath work. She's studied at the University of Massachusetts with a concentration in dance and minors in psychology and mathematics. She is, you might say, the eclectic, but very well-rounded in her education, both in formal education and also in spiritual education, right? And also the school of experience here on Earth, right? And so that's just a little bit of what Polly Jo offers. And I want to bring her on so that we have a chance to really talk about how do we ground our manifestations to the earth plane. So here, I got to enlarge my screen a little bit. There we go. And we're going to bring Polly Jo on. Hey, Polly Jo, welcome to Communications from Home.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. It's, Tuesdays are always busy here at Star Nations, always. And
Yep.
so, I sometimes it kind of reminds me of, now I'm going to date myself, but do you remember at A&W or other drive-ins when they would have car hops and they'd be on roller skates? Do you remember that?
Oh, yes. One of
Yeah.
my favorite places.
I kind of felt that way today.
Yep.
Oh, here's Rob. He says, you forgot to mention that she's cool. And
Thanks,
that's true. She is
Mom.
cool. Very, very true, Rob. Now, you guys who are in our Star Nations community, our peeps, those of you in the chat, I'm going to ask you to do something for us, right? If you wouldn't mind liking and sharing. And it's gotten to be kind of a good habit to get into, so much so that sometimes I forget to ask. And I would like to ask you so that we can reach more people, more souls. And we really do appreciate your assistance with that. I kind of see it like being good community members, light workers and energy workers that we are. And so I'm going to do the same thing. Got to go. Oh, I'm going to turn down my sound. Don't want to get all squelchy. No squelching tonight. And I am going to, let's see, I gotta go the other direction here. There we go. Gonna like it, and I'm gonna share it. I'm actually sharing it to my timeline because I share a lot of public things to my timeline. And I'm just gonna say I'm live streaming. Try to keep it short and sweet. And that way I don't have to misspell so much. There's that one. And, we have Star Nations Radio Network, and it's a closed group, but that is where a majority of our Star Nations community kind of hangs out because we share all kinds of stuff with them, not just about our shows, but about classes that we're offering and all kinds of things. And so I just want to make sure that that we get that shared to them too. There we go. That's good. We can do that. And I'm so, you know what, I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad that we're out of Mercury retrograde. I know that we're still in the shadow part of it, but it's good to be out of it. What do you think about that, Polly Joe?
I'm quite happy. It was a little hectic with I was flying around in airplanes this week, and I was very thankful that we were out of retrograde because even without retrograde, it was a little hairy.
Oh my gosh. And what they say is we're supposed to, check our airline tickets and double check them, sometimes even triple check them and that sort of thing. And it's true.
Oh yeah. My gate switched 3 times when I was in one airport. So I was like running back and forth. But at least they have those updates now for your phone. So it would ping and let me know something else had happened, and off I go.
And when you're flying like that, and it starts, it's almost like a wave. The ping starts with one person and kind of goes
It went
around the
around
whole
the room
group.
at one point. Yep. Everybody in the waiting area got pinged. They're all like, ugh. Everybody got up and we all walked to the next one.
Trudge over there. Say, hey, Minnie Kansman's in the house. Hello, Minnie. One of my other sisters.
Woohoo! Hi, sweetie.
Yeah. So, Polly Jo, I want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Helping us understand this a little bit better. Possibly at a deeper level so that we can utilize the skills that we have and the tools that we have, our gifts, to be able to do this grounding to the earth plane. Now, I do know that we are all creators, right?
Yep.
Whether we co-create from our hearts or if we co-create from our brains, we're creators.
Yep.
And when our manifestations come to us in the way that they're meant to come to us, right? Because sometimes we think they should be wrapped a certain way or look a certain way, and and they don't.
Yep.
And so how do we ground our manifestations to the earth plane? Because maybe sometimes they're not quite here yet, and so in order to help the energy flow, how do we do that with our chakras? How do we do that?
So with our chakra system, like you were talking about, that the earth is moving from the fourth. Oh, hi, Connie. Moving from the fourth into the fifth. But we might be in the third, moving to the fourth. So we may be on that low frequency range. It sort of depends where you're at, which chakras you use.
Oh, okay.
So that's an interesting piece to know. So most people use, oh, hi, Lindsay. You need some manifestation going on there, girl, I'm sure. So one of the things that, gets talked about a lot has to do with intention. And what I find with our chakra system is that we have limiting beliefs.
Yes.
And if we have limiting beliefs about what we are trying to manifest, like whether we should have it, whether we're worthy of having it, whether it's being selfish to ask for it, if you have a limiting belief like that, it will lower the vibration of what you're trying to manifest. So when it lowers the vibration, it's sending it down into the third dimension.
Okay.
So when you're in the third dimension, like if you're not sure if you have doubts or not, that's when you have to get your brain talking to your heart, because your heart is the one that's going to get it all done. When your heart can feel the intention and know that you mean it and that you really want it and desire it and it's true for you. That's the big one. Is it true for you? If the heart sees that it's true, then it will go down to your second chakra and say, hey, let's get some juice flowing in there.
Yeah.
To get this circuit going. And it will actually go through two little secondary chakras in your hips, from your second chakra into your hips, and then it'll go down each leg so that it takes root in the spiritual side of your life and the physical side.
Oh, okay. So when I said I try to keep it really simple. I just ground it through my body, and that's my intention. And I say it out loud, but I didn't know about the circuitry of the chakras.
Yes. So there's a special manifestation circuit in particular that goes from your second chakra to your two hip bones and down into the first chakra. So it makes almost a triangle, but it's more of a diamond.
Okay.
And as that happens, when it comes back into the first chakra, it goes down both legs. So it opens back up. It grows roots, basically.
It grows roots. All right. All right. So, okay, I want to make sure that our audience is following us.
Yeah.
That we get the idea or the thought that something that we would like to manifest.
Yep.
And it can be anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be anything.
Yep. Anything at all.
Right. And so then we have to go into our hearts to feel the emotions around it.
Right.
Right. And is it true for you? Is that what you said? The truth?
Yeah, it has to be true, because if there's any doubt, if you have a doubt or a limiting belief, like you don't deserve it or you're not worth it, then you're sending a mixed signal to the universe. And so then it freezes because it's not sure what you really want.
So it's when one of those things when you say, come here, go away, go away.
Yes. Exactly.
Yep. Or it's right on the cusp. right?
Yeah.
Right on the cusp. And it comes to your door, and you open that energetic door and you say, it's not supposed to look like that. Who are you? Slam the door, because that's not what I asked for.
Right. It's that not being clear with your intention.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have any doubt, when you're in the third dimensional vibration, if you have any doubt, then the universe sort of takes its foot off the gas
Mm-hmm.
and goes, well, do they really want it or not?
Yeah.
So it can take a lot longer for that thing to show up for you
Mm-hmm.
because they've now put it in neutral and are just letting the manifestation card coast until you decide.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that imagery of that one. And I do know that it's the emotions
Mhm.
that is the fuel to catapult that desire, that manifestation into the physical plane.
Right.
So if our emotions aren't, if you're not really jazzed about it,
Mhm.
chances are of it actually coming to fruition. I mean, it still can, but it could take a while. Um, that you almost you have to be like, really joyful that you already have it,
Right.
right? Yeah.
My big thing is for the people who've done my healing meditation, remember who's in the heart. Your inner child is in the heart, right? So if
Right.
your inner child isn't excited and jumping up and down and they want that so bad for Christmas, they're the ones who get it done fast.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
inner child, they've got that whole belief in magic and will wave that wand and boom. So you want that inner child excited and on board with no doubt that they're not going to get it.
Right. Right. Right.
And
So
that's
we
the thing.
we have the thought, we have the heart engaged. It's true. Our that child part of us is excited about it. And all right, so we have all of that going. It's kind of like driving a stick shift car. We
Mm-hmm.
have all of that going. So when does the second chakra start to
Kick in.
activate? Hmm.
As soon as the second chakra feels the joy and the excitement of the inner child.
Okay, so there's a
Because,
key.
yes, because the second chakra is all about feeling. So it's very primal about the feeling. So it's looking for joy and love or fear and hate. And so as soon as it taps into this is a joy love thing, your whole body starts to send juice into that area.
Okay. And it depends. I know for a fact because I realized this a long time ago, is that your emotion, no matter what it is, if it's a strong emotion,
Mm-hmm.
it's still the fuel. So when we go back to energy is just energy or medicine is just medicine, we're the ones that put the connotation of good or bad on it, right? Or how we use it gets the definition of dark or light.
Right.
Um, and so if you want to have a positive manifestation, you want to use positive, high energy emotion, joy, bliss, excitement,
Yep.
you know.
Wonderment. Yes, all of that.
Mhm. So the that's the key is when the inner child really is feeling all of those emotions is when the sacral it's activated.
Yep.
And is there anything else that we have to do for the energy to do that from the sacral to the hip chakras and then down?
Um, it's not so much that we have to do, it's whether, because again, it has to do with believing whether it can happen or not,
Okay.
because the manifestation has to happen in our spiritual beliefs as well as the physical beliefs.
Mm.
So if you don't believe that the universe will get it to you quickly, then that part of the circuit isn't going to be working very well.
Okay.
So there's like a belief that it will happen quickly, or it will happen now, or it will happen in divine timing.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a parameter on your spiritual team.
Yeah, Lindsay is saying divine timing. I just missed a job opportunity that I thought I did everything in my power to manifest. Was pretty confused about it. So this is perfect. Perfect timing.
Well, one of the things that happens is we sometimes fixate on a particular thing, thinking it's the perfect one for us.
Mm-hmm.
But on the parameters that we've set, the universe may know that there's something even better out there for you.
Right.
And so it's not the perfect one. The next perfect one is there.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Esperanza.
I like what she wrote too, because
Yeah.
she's replying back to Lindsay. She says, I'm delighted to be here. Many times I'm thankful for unanswered manifestations. I thought I wanted something, but my heart wasn't in it. The universe knows before I do what's best for me. And it's so true, Esperanza. There's something that I add to the manifestation intention, and that is, or something better, because we don't always know what's around the corner.
Right.
And so it's easier for us to help other people in to be of service to them when it comes to our own stuff. Sometimes we just don't see it,
Right.
And so, or something better.
Yes, or something better.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the side that I see that's often disconnected in the circuit. Or the other hip, when the other hip disconnects, that is usually a doubt in whether you think you're worthy of receiving it.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you feel like, well, maybe somebody else deserves it, or maybe it's too much to ask, or just something that's a little wishy-washy,
Mm-hmm.
then that part of the circuit isn't grounded, because the hips basically are like the grounding rods.
Oh, that's a good one.
For our manifestation. So
Mm-hmm.
otherwise it just ricochets like lightning, right? So you want it to be into the ground and to take root.
Mm-hmm.
And so without that, the belief in it, spirit and the physical world coming together at the same time, one of the hips will be disconnected.
All right. So if one of the hips are disconnected and we're not consciously aware of it,
Mm-hmm.
so what are some of the indicators? You talked about the belief, right? 100%, 100% belief,
Yeah.
and the excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything in our other bodies, such as our physical body, that or could be indicators?
Yep, you're going to have hip flexor pain.
Anybody in the chat ever have hip flexor pain?
Where the hip flexors are really tight.
Mm-hmm.
That is your body putting on the brakes to your manifestation. So it's like your and also your thigh muscles will also be very, very tight.
Okay.
Because it's just like you're in a car driving and you've got your foot hard on the brake.
Mm-hmm.
And how tense your leg gets,
Mm-hmm.
that you will show symptoms of that. The other one, which I'm sure nobody has ever had, is sciatica.
Oh, it's been a lot of years, but yes.
Yep. So sciatica is the back half of the manifestation circuit.
Mm-hmm.
But the hip flexors are the front half,
Mm-hmm.
how you're moving forward. And the sciatica is how supported you feel in your manifestation.
Oh, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
How supported you feel, which could lend to not having 100% belief,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Whether you have your own back,
mm-hmm.
or whether you feel the universe has your own back.
Right. Anybody else having some aha moments here? Because I I certainly am. I knew. This is a very female way of doing this. Is that when somebody asked me, I said, I keep it as simple as I can, and I ground it through my body. I know that it gets done. I believe it gets done.
Yeah.
But to actually explain it and know all the routes and all of that. So I'm glad we're doing this show because all these, hey, that makes sense. Oh my gosh. And I know a lot of people with sciatica.
Oh, yes. There's quite a few people with sciatic, with hip pain.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's ever broken their hip, they really were stubbornly not, moving forward in their life.
Mm-hmm.
It can also get caught in the knees.
Oh, okay.
And when it gets caught in the knees, it's because you've created a very rigid way you want it to appear.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't look like what I thought it was going to look like. So you close the door. You're
Right.
not being wanted.
Right. You're not being flexible about how it might come. So I had a student who was trying to manifest money for coming to school.
Uh-huh.
And she's a realtor. And so the only way she could imagine was selling a house.
Oh.
And I'm like, but she also has an Airbnb. And I'm like, well, what would happen if your Airbnb filled up for the whole summer?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that do it? What happens if, you get some unexpected insurance money because her husband had passed away a couple of years ago and things are still up in the air? I'm like, you don't know where the money could come from. But when you are saying it can only come that way, you're tying the universe's hands on getting it to you.
Yes. Yes. In the chat.
Yep.
I don't know why, but Live stopped sending us the comments. So here it is from my phone.
Okay.
Rob is saying suffering from depression can really put a damper on the process too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because with depression, depression encompasses the third chakra.
Mm-hmm.
And our third chakra holds our self-worth in particular. So that's when it really hits the worthiness. Whether you're worthy of getting it, or whether, sometimes you doubt that you're loved by Creator fully. And so that doubt is another thing that will impact it. And thank you for mentioning that, Rob, because the density of your third chakra often is an indication of where you happen to be at this exact moment in your vibrational frequency. So if you're having third chakra issues, whether it's depression or you're having acid reflux or you're having diabetes, you are having three-dimensional physical ailments, you are pulled into the third dimension. So all of the belief systems have to be so on point to manifest. And you have to so be focused on your heart that you're ignoring the whole rest of your chakra system, basically, and saying, I'm doing it anyways. So it is really difficult, Rob. It's difficult with any illness, whether it's emotional or physical, because when our energetic body is exhibiting pain in any frequency, it's stuck energy, and you need flow for manifestation.
Yes. Yes. And I'm
You
just
need
thinking about the word flow. Rob is saying, because I asked about the sciatica stuff, and he said yes. He says trying to do stretches in karate is painful. Yeah, and Rob is also saying sciatica can be dealt with dolphin pose and a deep front stance.
Yep.
Connie says, what if you have hip replacement?
If you have hip replacements, it means at some point your hips were blocked. It doesn't mean that they are now, though. Depends on how flexible you are now from the hip replacement.
Mm-hmm.
But Connie is somebody I know for a fact can use that heart of hers.
That's right.
To be so firmly in her faith that that energy is flowing through those hips, whether they're her original ones or not.
So true. And Christine, I'm not sure what you're saying yes to. Yes, very ash. I think it's probably misspelled, or autocorrected rather, autocorrected. If you could retype it in, because you're agreeing to something, but I'm not sure exactly what that is. Hey, Cynthia Jones just joined. Hey, Cynthia. So good that you're here. Esperanza says, I feel it in my hips, and now I pay better attention when it happens. Very valuable information. Thank you, Polly Joe and Neshi. You're welcome.
You are so welcome. Yeah, the hips for me are my place. I back in the day, when I was a dance teacher full time, you can imagine what was happening in my life if I was able to dislocate my pelvis on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And it was very much in my physical leg. It was how it was going to show up for me in my physical life.
Uh-huh.
The spiritual side, always wide open, but that right hip, boy, and if I get soreness in there, then I know. I need to do extra stretching and breathing and sending energy flow through to keep it from clogging.
Well, that's a good one too. And actually, Rob kind of started us on that path a bit.
Yep.
And that is, if we're having those physical symptoms, those physical indicators, right? Some tips that anybody can do. When we get done with the show tonight, that we can do really easily. What could that be?
So one of the ones that most people can do is if you lay on your belly and you put your hands on either side of your rib cage and you just lift your chest up to wherever you're comfortable. Some people, it's called a cobra or a half cobra.
We lost her. I don't know what happened to Polly Joe. She was explaining the cobra pose, right? Yeah. Or the modified cobra. We're going to take her down. She'll be back. She just has to come back in, is all. Yeah. She'll be back. We're still in the shadow. That's okay. We're still in the shadow of Mercury retrograde. Here she comes. You were talking about the cobra pose, right? Or the modified?
Either the modified or the cobra pose. Either one will stretch the front of your hip flexors. That's one of the easy ones. If it's your second chakra that you need to open, when you're either sitting or laying down, if you put the bottoms of your feet together, you know how you open your knees up like a butterfly? That opens up the second chakra, because sometimes it's the flow part that's having trouble to get to the hips. And that opens the hips and the second chakra at the same time. Okay. I like to lay down and do it so that I put my feet together and I'm laying on my back for a little bit and just let the weight.
Yeah. The knees kind of pull the muscles down.
Yeah.
All right. So we have a couple more comments here. All right. Lindsay is saying, is back pain any indication of manifestation issues?
Depends where it is on the back. If it's below the waist of your pants, it could be.
Okay.
But if it's above that, then it's much more likely to be second or third chakra issues. But not second in sort of the manifestation. It sort of starts right at the top of the tailbone.
Okay.
So if you're having trouble with your tailbone, then yes. Well,
It's a
I'm
good
not
question.
surprised. She's in nursing school. She's gonna ask the right question.
Cynthia saying hi to everybody.
Hi, Cynthia.
And Christine says it was aha moments. Thank you,
Ah,
Christine. Aha
good.
moments. And Rob says hip flexors are tight as piano strings.
They are. They are.
Hmm. Percussion. Oh, and when you kind of blipped out and came back in,
Yep.
they're saying they continue to see you and hear you.
My camera said I was on, so I actually had to turn my camera off because it's like I'm like, it says I'm here, and all I could do is press stop camera. So I'm like, all right, I'll stop the camera and I'll do it again.
And it worked. It worked. Yeah.
Good.
Let's see. See, I see and hear her too. So, that's good. Excellent. Thank you guys for letting us know that. Appreciate it. All right. So, what I said earlier is that it doesn't really matter what we want to manifest. What does matter is how we manifest it, how we do it.
Yeah.
We do know, for those of us who are living our lives awake and conscious, happening sooner, right? And so that old saying, "Be careful what you wish for," right?
Yeah.
And so we know that it's happening quicker. So when you do your intentions, I think the most important part is that it's heartfelt.
Yes.
It's as we would say, it's done in a good way or with a good heart.
Yeah.
And you can. We were just talking about this. You can manifest from your brain. It's been known to work for a lot of people.
Yeah.
The thing is that when you manifest from your brain, our brain is polarized because we have a left and right lobe, right? And so when the manifestation comes in, that's polarized too. And so many times you'll get what you want, but you'll also get what you don't want. And what you don't want will come to you as a surprise. You won't see it coming.
Right.
I think that's where the word accidental comes in.
Yeah.
Got it by accident.
Yeah.
But the heart is a unified field.
Right.
And so it comes to us within that unified field. And so it only comes in that positive way. So we just
Right.
went over that. Still in my head.
Still in your head. Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what we were talking about was manifesting in the third dimensional vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So for somebody who is more in the fourth dimension than the third dimension, then their creation action will go from idea to heart, and then the heart will take root.
Mm-hmm.
It will bypass all of the circuitry because it doesn't need it.
See, there's the flip with the fourth dimension.
Yeah, it doesn't even really ground the same way into the earth plane.
Oh, it doesn't.
So it sends the impulse wave out like a beacon,
Mm-hmm.
the universe. So instead of like taking root and then asking the earth energy to bring it up and forward, like we do in the third dimension, you're sending a beacon out on a universal frequency. And so that can be answered in any dimension. And so when you do it from there, that's why it can show up so much faster. Because when we're concentrating and focused, we're on one dimension. When we send that beacon out, we're sending out infinite possibilities.
Okay. So let's put that into everyday language. Let's give some examples of that, because I can feel some people going, huh? How do I do that? How do I know that it's being sent out?
It's when you can see it and feel it and sense it in every part of your body.
Mm-hmm.
So it's less of an idea, but a sensation. And when you have that sensation and it's anchored in your heart, then as soon as you start putting the other feelings in there, so if you can see it, if you can smell it, if you can taste it, you're calling in all of your senses to amplify it. So
Mm-hmm.
the more on board all of your senses are, the stronger the frequency of the pulse that's going out.
Okay.
Does that make more sense?
Yes, it does. Let's use an example, because remember, it doesn't matter what you manifest; it's
Right.
how. And so, and I know that there's many people who would like to have a reliable, dependable car, vehicle, right? And so, and this is the part that the secret. You guys remember The Secret, don't you? That they it just didn't cover this piece. It
Yeah.
didn't. Um, and so, even if it's a car, even if it's something material, right?
Mhm.
Is that you know the make of car that you want, you know the color, you know, you can actually sense what it's like to sit in the car and drive the car. You're feeling it, you're excited about it, you can smell the new car smell, you know, those kinds of things. And so you're using as many senses as you possibly can, and you're excited about it. Your inner child is jumping for joy over it, right?
Yep.
And so, in that example, I know that some people, you know, when you're a spiritual worker, sometimes we think that, you know, we're not attached to materialistic things, and technically we're not. But there's also that part of us that are here on the earth plane,
Yep.
and there's certain things that we do need, right?
So do
So
you want me to give my car example?
yes, please. I was leading you down that path.
Yeah, you want my car example?
Yes, I do.
So, when I was a young girl, my friend and I, we're in like fourth or fifth grade, and so we would talk about our dream car when we were older, when we were grown-ups. We were going to have our ideal car, and I wanted a VW Bug, but I wanted the inside to look like a girl's Batmobile. Okay, so this little Beetle and a girl's Batmobile, and then from there, I um, I wanted it to be pinkish purple. And so I tried to draw it, but they didn't have crayons that were pink and purple. But I drew pink and purple together. And I put it kind of away, but it was a memory that I felt it. I felt myself driving. I felt my hair in the wind. I sensed all of it. And I said, when I'm a grown up, that's my car. So fast forward to last year in the beginning of January, and I said, it's time for me to have my grown-up car. I want my grown-up car. And my husband said, all right, what's that? I'm like, I've always wanted a VW Beetle. That's what I want. And they're making them again, so that's what I want. He's like, all right. And we went to dinner that night, and we drove by the VW dealer on our way home. And I start squealing and jumping up and down and made him turn around because there were 3 pinkish purple VW Bugs in the parking lot. 2 hardtop, 1 with a convertible, because when I was young, I didn't know which one I wanted. They made 500 in the country, and 3 of them were at my dealership within hours of me saying I was ready for my grown-up car. And it was my inner child who created that. And the only reason it waited was because I set the stipulation that I was going to be when I was a grown-up. So as soon as I said the phrase, I want a grown-up car, it was there.
And which one did you select?
I selected one of the hard tops. And she does look like a Batmobile inside. It's black and shiny. She's got the pinky purple trim around she's got leather steering with the pink and purple around that, and it's in the seats, and yeah, it looks like a Batmobile on the inside too. It
Yay.
totally does. A girl's Batmobile. So that's my car, Trinity. And I'd never even financed a car on my own. So I wasn't sure that I wouldn't need a co-signer. Because usually my husband and I would do it together, but I wanted it to be all my energy. And the dealer had no doubt. So he had it all detailed and ready and the keys in before we'd even signed paperwork to see if I could get financing. So he had no doubt that was my car.
Yeah.
So with him having no doubt and me having no doubt.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Yep.
So you got your VW Bug.
Miss Trinity.
Well, Connie is saying a couple things here. She says, you made me laugh. I play golf now after not playing for 13 years. Life is so good. And we love you too, Connie.
Yeah, we do. Love you, Connie.
And Cynthia saying, yes, me too. And here's another thing from Connie. She says, what about the fifth dimension? It's a good question.
So the fifth dimension uses your heart, but it also uses your truth even more. So it's a little more of your throat chakra as well, because the fifth chakra is the ultimate expression of you in the fifth dimension. So that true potential, the true you, your authentic self that people are looking for, that's in the fifth dimension. So when you're manifesting for your authentic self and for what's in alignment with your authentic truth, then it's using the highest frequency, the fullest frequency, my team is correcting me, out of your throat as well as your heart. So they're acting like a team to send both beams out. So you can imagine, instead of there just being that heart beam beacon, you've got the heart and the throat going out together.
Working together. So that's a pretty large beam then.
It's double the size.
Double the size.
So double the speed.
Double the fun.
Double the fun.
Oh, and I'm going to say, my inner child's going, holy smoke.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah. I'm pretty close to that, I think, because I think I told you the story the other day where I really worked on my belief systems around money. And so, my bank account grew like 10 times the size in 6 weeks. And now, as soon as I write the check, the money comes in. So the money actually never really leaves the bank. It's like, because that other check hasn't been cashed. So it's like, and it doesn't seem to matter what size the check is. So I think I had said to you the other day, I wrote out like $3,000 worth of checks and thought that would be it, And then within less than 24 hours, I had $4,000 come in. So it didn't seem to matter what what the size was.
The amount. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So how many, I don't even know how to phrase this question for manifesting in the fifth and using our heart and our throat chakras, because we're sending out the beam, right? We're not grounding it to the earth. We're sending it out to the universe from our heart and our throat.
Yeah.
Do you think that there are many people doing that right now?
I would say so.
No?
I think there's some who aren't, but there's some that we know that are really good at it. I would bet you donuts to dollars that Oprah is doing that. Because money gets made out of nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what
Out of
does she
thin
do with
air.
it? It's out of thin air.
Out of thin air.
And she is paying that forward in so many ways. She's trying to help as many people as she can. And the more people she helps, the more money she gets to help people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think there are a number of people out there who sometimes fly under the radar,
Mm-hmm.
but they're doing that quite easily.
Yes. Yes. I would agree with you too. Okay, so here we have Rob's kind of, his sense of humor. 86 Dodge Omni. And he
No.
says his dream car is a Toyota. Said no to Michigander ever.
Right. It's my husband at the moment. I think I told Neshi this story, but my husband is trying to manifest in a very third dimensional way a Corvette, a white Corvette. And I'm leaving him to it. And he's doing it from a very logical brain place. I did have him, put the added, he has a certain dollar amount and color and years that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And he was working on that. And I'm like, you might want to say that it should run for that much money. Because I think you want a car that runs, right?
Works.
You might be really sad. You could get that car for that price, but it probably wouldn't be running. So if you want that doll, yep.
Esperanza has a really good statement
Yeah.
here. She said, it appears that I manifest in the fourth dimension quite often. However, when I'm in this mode, wise women and family think I'm not grounded and need to tone down my energy. This is confusing to me. How do I manifest without going overboard?
So when you manifest in the heart chakra, you should still be grounded. If you're ungrounded, then it's sort of like Mary Poppins. So Mary Poppins has a bag, and so there's like 4 million things in the bag, and she's digging through. So she's manifesting. She's got all this stuff, and she'll need it someday, but she's not focused because she's always up in the air a little bit. And it's in the bag, but she's got to dig through it.
Uh-huh.
So when you're not grounded and you're manifesting, it doesn't mean you aren't manifesting. It just means that it can be a little chaotic. And when it's chaotic, then you may get a version of what you want, but like you were saying, you might get the ricochet of what you don't want. And you don't ever want to leave your body to manifest.
That's a great point.
You have to be in this physical plane to manifest fully and completely. And so a lot of people think the divine energy and the upper dimensions are out of your body. They're in your body fuller.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not higher out of you. It's in and fuller. So like that beam goes from here to here to here as you add dimensions, but you don't change if you're staying in. And so if you're out of your body and you're manifesting, I'm not totally sure how you're manifesting completely from your heart, because if you're out of your body, your heart isn't at your heart. Your heart is up above your crown.
Mm-hmm.
So So your manifestation circuit might happen to fall at your heart, and maybe that's how it's happening. But when you can do it from a conscious place, then you got to be in for that to happen.
Yeah, and even our manifestations are part of our life lessons, right?
Yes.
And so, in order to gain the soul growth from that life lesson through the manifestation, using our gifts, that expression, it can only be in its full expression when we're grounded to the earth.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. We can only fully enjoy it when we're grounded to the earth. And we can only be in the fullness of our gratitude when we're grounded in the earth.
Mm-hmm. And even in the gratitude, you have to be heartfelt. You have to be joyous in that gratitude for that manifestation, because it completes the cycle.
Yes.
You know?
So there's imagine how powerfully you could manifest Esperanza when you can learn to do it in your physical body. Because you're probably attempting fifth dimensional manifestation, but doing it from an ungrounded space, so it's hitting the fourth dimension. So if you got yourself in, can you imagine what would happen? And how much more accurate and then people wouldn't be questioning you.
That's right. That's right.
They would be calling you really lucky and blessed.
That's right. You'd have a lot of people asking you, how do you do that?
How do you do that?
How do you do that? And hence, you know how much I like that word.
I know.
Hence the show and the topic, because it was a really good question, and I wanted to make sure that we gave the best and fullest response to that question.
Yeah.
And Polly Jo, you gave us so much information in this short span of Earth time.
Thank you.
Yeah, and actually gave us some things that our audience, that we can actually sit down and really take in and try. I mean, if you have those indicators in your physical body, then you know that you have some work to do, some healing work to do. And if you are doing the fourth dimension manifestations, then you know that you need to connect your brain and your heart to be able to do that. And once the desire or the intention is in your heart to do that fourth dimension, so manifestation, I love it. I love it. I love it. Do you have anything else you'd like to add? Because we're near the top of the hour, and I wanted to talk about one other thing before we say goodnight.
I think that was it. I think it was great.
Okay.
That was funny.
That was a lot, man. That was a lot. We have something coming up in October that we would like to share a little bit more about. And Polly Jo's coming to Wisconsin in October 5th through the 7th, and teaching a class called Mystical Energy Healing 101. And we used the heart chakra on the promotion for a very good reason. You want to tell them about that?
We are going to be spending the entire weekend working on releasing any blockages in the heart chakra. And part of that is so that people can create and move their energy more into the fourth dimension, into a higher, fuller vibration. And so this is really helping people step into that authentic self that we were talking about. So even people who are in between the fourth and the fifth dimension, if they want to really access both beams of light in their circuitry, we're going to be really making sure there's some of the energy of doubts and beliefs that might be in there. We'll be doing some healing work, and it'll be very experiential.
Yes.
And these are huge transformational weekends where you can finally let go of things you've been holding on to. I have people who say, a weekend with me is like a year of therapy.
In a good way.
In a good way, because you get to release all of those things that were just really holding you back. And so that's what we're doing that weekend. I'm so excited. I can't wait to come visit.
I'm very excited about it. This particular class expands what we've been talking about here at Star Nations since 2013. This expands it into the fourth and fifth dimension. And to be able to have a weekend where you can experience yourself in that energy field, it's big medicine is what we call it.
Yeah.
Polly Jo is also doing private healing sessions. There's a few open slots, and I can't remember how many slots are you offering? Because
I'm offering 4 on Friday and 4 on Monday.
Yeah. So when you register for the class and want a healing session, it's a package deal. If you don't want to take the class and just want the healing session, there's a price for that as well. You can check that all out at Star Nations Organization's website. That's .org, and click on the Academy page. I'll put the link in the comments after the show. And I do have a couple more statements here. Christine is saying, thank you for a great show. Love it when you go deep. And Lindsay is saying, thanking us both. Cynthia is saying, wonderful. And Rob is asking if he can PM you after the show.
Absolutely. I may not answer you tonight, Rob, because I have been traveling all day to get home. So I'm just about out of toast, but you can definitely PM me. I will respond to you as quickly as I am able.
Oh my gosh. And thank you so much, really, Polly Jo, for taking the time for us tonight and providing, such great information. We got action going on here at the Academy. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And so for next week on Communications from Home, we're going to be doing the Unity Breath together. Yeah. One of my favorite times of the month is the last Tuesday is when I do the guided meditation for the Unity Breath. So you can join me for that. And with that, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening, and we'll see you, tomorrow morning for the live stream, card draw, and today is Wednesday. Tomorrow night for Polly Jo, she's doing Soul Connections, which is an evening, and it's an hour and a half of healing and divine messages. So hope to see you in the chat rooms for that, okay? So with that, good night, everybody. We appreciate you being with us.
Bye, guys.
And we'll see you later. Bama Mina, until we see each other again.